Welcome everyone. We are so happy to have you with us today. My name is Andy Schaefer. I'm president of Defined, and I'm joined by our global head of products, Lisa Wolf. Please feel free to say hello in the chat and let us know where you're coming from. We also will be monitoring the chat as well as the Q&A, and we will plan to get to all your questions today. You will also, everyone in attendance will receive a recording of this session, as well as an opportunity to download previous sessions of this as well. So today we're going to be sharing another part of our Defined ecosystem called Defined Careers. If you wouldn't mind advancing the slide, Lisa. In our previous webinars, we featured Defined Goals, which is our portrait of a graduate tracker, as well as Defined Learning, our standards-based K-12 project library, where students learn about core subjects through the lens of a career, helping them to answer that question of why am I learning this and how can I apply it to the real world. So there are some common elements between the two services, but today we're going to be diving into, if you wouldn't mind advancing the slide, Lisa. We're going to be looking at Defined Careers, and again, there's some common elements between the two, including a common portfolio as well as common resume. And we're also utilizing a project-based approach in both of these services. And you can, of course, see a couple of the aspects. And we're going to be diving into Defined Careers, which is going to be something that provides students with the opportunity to experience hundreds of careers with day-in-the-life-of type projects. We want students from all different backgrounds to be able to see themselves in a wide variety of careers. We often say you cannot be what you cannot see, and Defined Careers combines that exploration and experience to help students familiarize themselves with the many opportunities that are out there and answer that question of what will I do after I graduate? So if you happen to be coming to us today from the state of Tennessee or the state of Connecticut, you already have access to what we're going to be sharing with you on Defined Careers. You'll also see, if you wouldn't mind advancing the slide, Lisa, just we work with partners from all around the U.S., districts large and small, and there's just a handful of our great partners from across the globe listed there today. So we're going to go ahead and get things started today with a few questions for Lisa. So Lisa, could you share, how does Defined Careers provide real-world career experiences to enhance student learning? And how does Defined Careers excite students about their future career paths and empower them with essential skills for college, careers, and life?
Well, thanks, Andy, for setting the stage, and welcome to all. I'm so thrilled to be with you here today. Like Andy said, one of the things that we say here a lot is you can't be what you can't see. We're really focused on leveling the playing field for all students to really show them all of the careers and the potential that they have. So, what you'll see when I provide the product demo later in this webinar is that each project within Defined Careers is presented through the lens of a career. We've got over 600 career courses for students to explore. Defined Learning was actually our first product that we created back in, I think, 2009, and people loved it. It's really great. Like Andy said, we will certainly send you the link to the webinar that kind of goes through that. But after we had created that, people asked us, what about really putting the career first and foremost and allowing students to really do some deep dive into a career exploration and career experience? So that's kind of how Defined Careers was born. So we kind of think of Defined Careers as a hands-on, minds-on projects across all career clusters, which really allows students to explore. And the key thing is to experience real-world industry scenarios. And you'll see that once they start walking through a career course. So students are kind of like a day in the life of whatever chosen career that they have chosen for themselves in order to really understand and experience a career to see if it's right for them, to help them with all of that future planning. Because it utilizes hands-on career-connected learning, and it's all supported by the research-based Understanding by Design framework that you'll also see once we dig in here. It's going to really give students a chance to apply all of the things that they're learning in school, and as well as be able to, in a real-life goal, role, audience, and situation for each performance task. And it's also going to allow them to really develop their skills that are kind of really specific to project-based learning and things that they'll use for those future-ready skills throughout the rest of their lives, whether it's communication or problem solving or critical thinking. So really all of that hands-on experience, the projects, which are really something that sets us apart, are going to be ways that are going to really help set the stage for getting them excited about the careers. And it's also going to be helping them to develop all of those skills to make them ready for college, career, and life.
Well, thanks, Lisa. Well, how about diving right in? Can you provide us a demo of defined careers and how it supports this career exploration and experience for students?
Absolutely. We'll go ahead and dig right in. And what I'm going to do throughout this demo, just to kind of set the stage for what you're about to see, I'm going to start on the student side of defined careers. It's really designed to be a student-driven platform to really help students with, like I said, that college career, exploration and experience. So we're going to start off with the Pathways Matching Assessment, which is a typical entry point, it's going to be a multidimensional assessment looking at students' study preferences, their interests, their values. It's going to recommend career pathways for them. So I'll show you kind of what that looks like. Then we're actually going to go through a career course. And like you see up on the screen, we've got over 600 of these, and they're all going to be set up using the same structure that when I walk through one of them for you. But we'll also show you all of the careers that are in there just in terms of a way that a student can search for them. And then as students are working through the platform, they're building their online portfolio and resume. So we'll kind of show you what that looks like. Then on the educator side, I'm going to show you some of the reporting tools. So in particular, we're going to look at the assessment report as well as the career review survey report, which you'll see here in just a little bit. So that's kind of going to be our agenda for this session or this part of the demo. So right now I am logged in, like I said, as a student. And I'm based here in Colorado, so I'm using our Colorado demo account, but this is going to look the same for anything. I may just bring that up for a couple of things that we're going to show a little bit later on in the actual presentation. You'll see up here at the top, you've got all of the career courses that I'm already enrolled in. Down here at the bottom, we've got our assessment tile as well as our portfolio tile. Like I mentioned, our assessment is a typical way that students enter into defined careers. Now, they don't have to take this. We can turn this off, but you'll notice right here, we have it where they can take it again. This is on demand. It can be taken as many times as a student would like. It's untimed, typically takes about 20 minutes or so, and they can go back if you want to do it as a pre and a post, or a lot of times students will do this once a year is typical. And then I also want to mention that right here on the dashboard, we're going to come back to this here in a little later on in the demo, but the career review survey, which is a 5-question survey that is part of the assessment. It's also available on demand. It's also available in the career course that you're going to see, and it's also part of the virtual internship. So I only mention that because I am going to show you some reporting for that as well. But right here, I'm going to go right into the recommendations. So after students have taken their assessment, like I said, it is 3 different parts. We're going to help students rank all of the different subject areas that they might be in school. We're going to get an idea of where their interests fall and kind of break it down. The longer the bar, the stronger the interest there. And then finally, we'll dig into the work values and see where it is that students' values really lie. And again, the longer the bar, the stronger the value for that particular area. But then the magic really happens when we triangulate those 3 and we take a look, where do their study preferences, their interests, their values lie? What are going to be some good career pathways for students to explore? So you can see right here, we're recommending 4 career pathways. Now we do allow students to choose from any of the 600 career courses. This is just to kind of get them started. For each one of these 4 career pathways, we're going to break this down into the number of years of training or education that are required and show them all of the opportunities and possibilities within this particular career pathway. And depending on the career pathway, it's going to depend on the number of years of training and just the type of careers that are in there too. So teaching and training, you see, has a lot of different, this is set up the same way. I know, for example, STEM and engineering, here's a good example too. So this one, we're only going to have a couple of different areas, and that's just because the number of careers that are part of that particular pathway. So in all of these, you can see at the top, it says enroll in course for a lot of these. So I'm going to walk you through what a career course looks like. And like I said, we have over 600 of these available, but they're all going to be set up using the same structure. So I'm going to go into industrial engineering technicians. Each one of these is going to be set up using this 5-lesson structure. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you too. The very first lesson you're going to see is the career cluster lesson. Then we narrow it down to lesson 2, and we're going to look at the career pathway. And then lessons 3 and 4 are really where we are focused in on that actual career. So I'm going to go through lessons 1 and 2 pretty quickly, but then we'll spend a little bit more time on lessons 3 and 4. So for each one of these, you're going to notice that we have a slideshow up top, and then any text down here below for check-in questions or any additional information that we want to share with the students, as well as the whole course content kind of tracker there. So for each one of these, and we can make it bigger, you're going to go through, students are going to be introduced to the career cluster so they can start to learn a little bit about what cluster this career is in. We're going to have a review to kind of summarize all that for them. And then finally, the next steps are going to be just the check-in questions. The next one you're going to see follows the exact same structure. So I'll go through it even more quickly. But again, up at the top slideshow, then we've got some check-ins down there below. We're going to have that pathway video, as well as kind of a review of the different careers that are in that pathway. And then we've got the check-ins. But let's dig in to lessons 3 and 4. This is really going to be where students are going to get to be kind of a day in the life of, in this case, an industrial engineering technician. So in this particular case, again, we've got that slideshow up top. You're going to notice there's going to be a little bit more down here below. One of the things, like we said before, that really gets students excited about careers is that they get to actually be kind of a day in the life of a career by actually creating products that are related to this particular career. We've got the 2 products that they're going to be creating. We've got a floor layout, as well as the capabilities of machines. We're going to go through this in the slideshow as well. You're going to see we've got a rubric right there for them to be assessed, as well as some check-ins. So I wanted to highlight that ahead of time because in the last 2, we'd only had the check-ins. But let's go ahead and kind of dig into this slideshow as well. We're going to start off with some instructions. Every single career course has 2 different products that are available to be created. So it depends on how the school or the teacher wants to implement this, whether they're having 1 or 2 be done. And this is going to walk them through each step. Now, like I mentioned, we do use the research-based understanding by design framework. So every single career course, we're going to be providing a goal, role, audience, and situation. I'm going to play a little bit of this video just so you can kind of get a feel for how we set the stage for students and, again, how we get them excited about these particular careers.
You are an industrial engineering technician, and your goal is to provide a floor plan and an analysis of machines that will allow a new Amazon fulfillment center to operate at maximum efficiency. And your role as an industrial engineering technician is to understand how the Amazon fulfillment centers operate and what different machines are used or will be used to help the new fulfillment center operate at maximum efficiency. And your audience will be the Amazon production team that is in charge of fulfillment center design and operations. And here's your situation. Amazon has just announced they will be opening a new fulfillment center near you. They have multiple warehouses and fulfillment centers across the world and are looking at building another center to help fulfill orders from customers.
Okay, there's a little bit more time on that where they go through each part, but just to kind of give you an idea of what it was that this is. And we do have a text version of that. And as you could see, there was a area at the bottom where I could turn on the subtitles if I wanted to for both English and Spanish, but really kind of setting the stage for students in terms of that goal, role, audience, and situation. After they've been introduced to all of that, we're going to provide job-specific vocabulary to kind of help them. There might be terms that they might not have heard that are going to be certainly things that they would need to know in order to be in this position. And then we're going to provide them with a number of research links. Students are certainly welcome to do any type of outside research on their own. This is, again, just some places to help get them started and to learn more about this particular career. And then we get to the products. So like I said before, each career course and each career has 2 different products to help them kind of figure out, what does somebody in this particular career do? So we had the text below the slideshow which gave more detail about that, and we've got that right here as well. So here's what the students are going to be creating. And ideally, they're creating both of these to really get a good idea of what it is. So we already kind of set the stage with the goal, role. I think we got through the audience too. We didn't get through everything in the video. But the very first thing that they're going to have to do is to create that floor layout in this particular career. And then the second product here is we're doing kind of an analysis of the machines here too. So depending on the career, we have different types of products that students are creating. So just because we're doing this in one career doesn't mean that, some of them we're creating models or some of them we're creating a budget. It kind of depends on what career it is that we're going to be doing. But one thing to keep in mind is that the intention is there's never a need to purchase anything else in order to create these products. The goal is that these are all going to be created with tools that you already have at your school in particular. We do help students out with the design process in case, PBL is something that's kind of new to them and kind of thinking through, the brainstorming. What am I going to do to create this? Kind of creating, doing some revision to it. And it's kind of an iterative process. So helping them out with that. And we do have a support document as well, kind of a worksheet to help them walk through that if that is kind of a support guide. And then the bulk of the work is really creating that one or both of those products, and really kind of sets Define Careers apart from any other career platform, because here they actually get to create those and they're building their portfolio. So after they've created it, like I said, we've got those down here. I'm going to show you in a little bit what that portfolio looks like, because anything that they create is going to go right into their online portfolio. We'll go into lesson 4 next here, and this is going to be kind of we call it the career roadmap. I like to think of it as kind of the next steps, or kind of a way to fill in the gap of anything that students might have missed during lesson 3 when they were creating their products. So again, we've got a slideshow up here. I'm going to walk you through very quickly what this looks like. We're going to have a video specific to that particular career. Like I said, kind of helps fill in any gaps. And this is going to also give a lot of information about the career itself. A lot of times this is what, students are looking for in terms of just the overview. We've got what they're called, what they do, what they would do on the job, as well as that education outlook and salary too. We do link to ONET if they'd like to have a little bit more information. And I'm going to come back to this button here a little bit later on in the presentation, but we do help students with those next steps with post-secondary planning and being able to kind of search for programs or colleges or trade schools or community colleges that do have programs that support this particular career. We end lesson 4 in the high school with a personal budget project. So on this last slide, we are learning about what that salary is. So now, based on what that salary is, they can build their own budget. And this is built off of all of the same buckets as the national standards for personal financial literacy. We've got a template all ready for them to really help them think through, because we know personal financial literacy is, of course, very important for students to be thinking through. So a lot of things that they maybe have not even thought about are going to be included in here to kind of help them get an idea about what to expect here if they go into that career. You'll see down here, they can upload their budget. The very last thing that I want to mention is lesson 5, and this is the same across every single career course. We've got the career review survey. There's just 5 questions here, trying to get an idea of what students know about the career and where they are in their planning process. So this, like I mentioned earlier, is taken multiple times throughout the time a student is working through Define Careers, multiple times throughout the year and throughout their whole educational career. It's part of the assessment. It's part of each lesson or career course. It can be taken on demand, and I'm going to show you some of the valuable data that you can get from this as well to kind of monitor and see where students are with the particular, with their career knowledge. A few other things on the student side before I turn it over or go over to the educator side. Just move down from the dashboard to the courses menu. This is where, we have those 4 recommended pathways that change based on whatever the particular, it's always going to be the results of that career core or the career pathways matching assessment. But those change over time. That's a key thing about why it's important to give that assessment multiple times, is students' interests and values change over time. So those will change over time, but they also have access to all of the different careers that we have here. So we had the ones that they were already enrolled in. We've got the recommended career courses based on their assessment. And down here, you'll see, here's where they can search our entire library of the 600 plus career courses that we've got. They can search by keyword, just do teacher in here. You'll see anything where it's in the title or if it's in the alternative name. You can search by cluster and pathway. We hear a lot in the CTE field Oh, we would love this to use this as a curricular tool. We just want to use the career courses that are within our cluster or in our pathway and use this as part of our supplemental curriculum resource. Absolutely a wonderful way to use this. These are all expandable. You can drill down just by cluster and pathway and see the careers that are within those particular clusters and pathways. Then the last thing that I'll mention here is we have multiple collections in here. So what I just showed you was the career courses, and that's what the bulk of the library is. But we have 3 other collections too, and I'll mention a little bit later about some of these as well. But I did want to highlight, of course, you saw we have lesson 4, which has the personal budget. We do have a whole collection for financial literacy as well. So here's where, and these again align to the national standards for personal financial literacy are in there. We've got post-secondary planning as well that's broken down by grade level. And then we also have some soft skills modules, and I'll talk about those in a little bit as well. But a lot of content, certainly around the careers, but in addition to other things related to planning as well. The final thing that I'm going to show you right now within the student side is that portfolio that I mentioned earlier. So as students are working through defined careers and uploading all of their work, they're building their online portfolio, which is then also in turn building an online resume for them. So you can see when I went into my portfolio here as a student, I've got my resume kind of already started here. We've got the experience, education, any extracurriculars, as well as any of the projects that I've decided I want to be able to showcase. This online portfolio is shareable. You'll see up here, there's a share link. Students can copy this, send it to, a lot of times we get asked, well, how can parents see what students are doing within defined careers? They can share the share link. They're going to be building this all along the way, and that's going to stick with them. They want to put it on a college application, maybe for a job interview. They've got that there. It's portable for them. Very easy to edit. You'll see these other tabs here as well. So defined careers is where all of those defined careers projects are. They can pick and choose whichever ones they want to include on their resume. They're also using defined learning. This is a shared portfolio, so they can have access to that, as well as anything that they want to outlog or log in or upload is the word I was looking for. Anything they want to upload as part of their personal projects as well. So something that was not created and uploaded as part of a project, they can upload in here as well and be able to showcase. So that was kind of where I wanted to start from the educator or from the student side, and very quickly do want to show you what the educator side looks like. So for defined careers, there are a number of reports, and I wanted to mention just 2 of the reports for things that I showed related back to that student side. The first thing that we talked about on the student side was the assessment. So I want to be able to show you exactly what this is going to look like from the educator side. You see, I just went over to my reporting tab. I have a number of filters that I'm just going to leave all, but for the district level, you can choose by school, grade level, teacher, classes, and what school year you're looking to generate these reports from. And right here is where you're going to have kind of a nice overview of all of that. I kept everything just pretty broad. You can see the number of assessments that have been taken. You can see it's broken down by middle school and high school, and all 3 of those components that I showed you. You're going to have the study preferences. This is all interactive. So in terms of like how many ranked each subject first, you can highlight, kind of dig into that data, and then breaking it down by the interests as well as those values. And same thing for the high school. You're going to be able to break it down by how many broke it down, what all those different ranks were for all of those different subjects. It's good data to have on what your students prefer, as well as, of course, their interests and values. And then finally, the recommended pathways. That was always the last part of that. And we have it broken down by clusters here on the vertical axis. And then within each one of those, we can drill down a little bit more. So within that education and training cluster, we've got 2 pathways. The teaching and training, we had 11, and professional support students, we had 4 that were recommended. So that is all right there as well as a report. And then if you'd like each student level data, you'll see right up here, there's a button to generate that report. And that will give you a CSV file of every single student and all of their results to drill down for more specificity. The other report that I wanted to highlight at this time was the career review survey report. So we saw that is given multiple times to a student throughout their time in defined careers at the end of every career course, as part of the assessment or on demand or at a virtual internship. Typically, you would use these, again, same filters that we saw for the assessment report, I would definitely recommend breaking this down by grade level. Of course, comparing a 6th grader to a 12th grader is going to be very different in how they look at this, but just for the sake of demo purposes, I'm just going to include this all together. And here's where you can break it down by each one of those 5 questions that I showed you in lesson 5. You can see we've got 2 different bars for each one of these responses. We've got the baseline in gray, so that was the first time throughout that school year that they took the assessment, versus the most recent time. So we want to, because what we care about is really where they're at right now. So here you can kind of see just in our demo environment, versus I have no idea was 44% versus the most recent 18%. And you kind of take a look at all of those for across all of the different areas here, which is going to give some really valuable data in terms of where your students are with that career planning process and where they are with really that whole career navigation and exploration as a whole. So that was as much as I was going to cover during this part in terms of both the student and the educator side here. So I'm going to turn it back over to you, Andy. And if you wanted to
Sure.
add anything else here as well, certainly happy to do that.
Well, most importantly, I think we had a couple of great questions from Matt Strock. I think he's looking ahead a little bit of what we might be talking about in a little bit, but I'm going to mention both these, Lisa, and let you either comment or say we're going to get to these shortly. But there was a couple of questions Matt had. One was, are the pathways customizable? In other words, can we set where they are? And then his next question was, is there a report to see students' competencies and soft skills? And he thought we mentioned something like that, and that's a little foreshadowing to the defined goals, I think, aspect of this. So, and you want to make any comments on that? The questions from Matt.
I think it's exactly foreshadowing of what we'll get to with defined goals. That's exactly what that is. We'll hit that coming up. Man, I think I have a call with you tomorrow morning. So I'm glad you're already thinking about this. But when we talk about having customized and choosing which different careers we want students to do, absolutely, that will be something. And I've even got an image of where that would be. The 4 career pathways that I showed already, that's based off of the assessment. So that will be personalized for each student, but we can provide different ways to customize and show, have certain students go into particular career courses through defined goals, or teachers can also assign courses as well. I didn't show that, but right now it was kind of students going in, but there is a way for teachers to actually go in. Like I said, CTE loves to use that a lot, have all students assign it to a class, and you can do that way as well. But I'll get to that in a little bit too.
Yeah, and I'll just mention that Matt, we customize content for our partners on a regular basis as well. So there's all kinds of different options in that realm. But Lisa, thank you so much for that great overview. And turning back to the assessment momentarily, which of course can be a great springboard into student exploration and experiences. Is there anything different about the assessment, perhaps in grades 8 and 9 as we finish middle school or start high school?
Yes, that is a great question. And so we've talked a little bit about, the pathways matching assessment and, what we saw when we went into the assessment report. So I do want to highlight first, we have a middle school version as well as a high school version. So from 8th to 9th grade, they're going to be seeing a little bit different version too. It's still the same 3 parts, but the middle school is a little bit shorter in terms of all 3 of those different areas. There's a few different study preferences. We have pictures to go along with all of the interests as well. So that is one of the things that is a difference. But the other thing that I'd like to highlight is that we do have, and are launching for next school year, an aptitude test that is really designed for 8th and 9th graders. And I have so many tabs open here. Let me get into this. So I'm going to log out because I want to be using a different user here. I'm going to show you just very quickly what this looks like for our aptitude test. So this is again, we talked about what the pathways matching assessment does, and those interests, those values, study preferences, regular basis. Aptitudes are really kind of going to be measuring and being able to predict the abilities. And so the sweet spot's going to be where we can take all of those different interests and values and study preferences and take a look at where what students are also going to be, good at and what their aptitudes are, and take a look here. So this assessment, we're just going to take very quickly a look at the results. But this is a dashboard for students that can, again, take the aptitude test again, geared more towards 8th and 9th graders. I'm going to go into the results here, and you're going to see 3 different things once we dig into the results. Got it broken down into 3 different sections. You're going to see some parallels between how we're also portraying the results here too. We are looking at 15 different aptitudes within this aptitude test. And the very top part is we're going to show the top 5. So here are going to be the top 5. They're kind of their strengths of things that would be a good place for them to start in terms of careers that align with their aptitudes. Then we're going to break it down, and you're going to see it's very close to what we saw with the Pathways Matching Assessment, breaking those careers down by the number of years of training required. Then we're going to combine all 5 of those different recommended strengths in the careers that go with them and kind of just do one overall match. So those are going to be the 3 sections that we've got. So here are the top 5 strengths. They're going to learn a little bit about what they are. You'll see those across this top horizontal axis here, ranging from spatial abilities, quantitative, all the way over to verbal. But each one of these is going to have a video for them to be able to learn more about what does that mean if I have high spatial abilities, learning a little bit more about that, as well as some careers to explore there. Then depending on which aptitude we have selected up here, I'm going to scroll down here to this part 2. And this is where it's going to be broken down by the number of years of education and training required, just like we saw with the Pathways Matching Assessment too. So for all of these, students can go in there, if this is where they are interested in one of these things, they can go right into that career. Of course, they're going to learn a little bit more about the career and see what the courses are there that we have available for them as well. So they can explore it and open it up right into Define Careers and go right into that course. We can enroll in it. And you can see exactly just what we saw in that first part of the demo. And then the very last part here, this was all broken down by, of course, that one particular aptitude I had selected. Part 3 is going to have all of them together. So if they want to take a look and see all of the different careers based on their strengths, they can do that, and they can go right into Define Careers to explore it. So that is another, option for 8th and 9th graders that we have, which really kind of adds, a little bit more flavor to the results and gives them an even more way to fine tune the careers that they are actually exploring.
Thanks,
So-
Lisa. I'm going to dive into another aspect I know that we wanted to talk a little bit about, but looking a little bit more at work-based learning and community partnerships. What are the resources and support that Define Careers provides educators to facilitate work-based learning opportunities as well as community partnerships?
Yes, we have a lot of really wonderful resources here. So I'll dig back into the platform and show you from both the educator side as well as the student side here for Define Careers as well. I can get right back into the right tab here. So we're going to go back in as a student. So obviously, the career courses are a wonderful way to get students excited about the careers, being able to do that project-based learning. I'm going to go now next into this third tab here, which is opportunities. And this is where they can kind of extend their learning and their experience one more step past those career courses, where it can be work-based learning opportunities, among other things too. But this is where, think of this as really 2 key pieces here. We've got 16 virtual internships with 8 more on the way for the next school year, as well as a place for educators to post any work-based learning opportunities that might be local to their community, whether it's internships, apprenticeships, anything like that. That's going to be posted right here within the opportunities featured. Could be job shadowing. It could be local scholarships. That's another thing that we get asked about too. Can we post scholarships in here? Of course, you certainly can. But you'll see up here at the top, we've got a section for any sort of opportunity that our students are interested in or have already applied to. And then I'm also going to get into this piece too. We've got a whole partner profile page where maybe there's an industry partner that's key within your community, and you want to be able to focus and feature them as much as you possibly can. Like I said, I'm here in Colorado, so I have 2 different partner profile pages right here for some local industries here in Colorado. Down here at the bottom is where you're going to see all opportunities. So this is where, very similar to that courses menu, they can search by keyword. Here you can search by type, any of the different types that have been posted. If you want to search by partner, so if there's a particular partner that we're trying to focus here, and then just like the courses, you can search by cluster and pathway as well. So here's where they can see all of those different ones. They can get a little bit more information My Colorado Journey is a site that is used here in Colorado. So you can kind of show each one of these. You're going to be able to post the opportunity details, the location and dates, any sort of salary or any sort of credits that are there as well. So any of those that are custom, again, this Ball Corporation is another one that's local that has been posted. Got the details there. Has a lot more details here. We can have the location dates, any sort of salary. You can link them right to their page, however you want to, do that as well. Now, the other part of the opportunities is going to be the virtual internships too. So right here, I'm just going to go into this manufacturing one. You're going to see that these are all designed to be very self-paced, just like our career courses, but are kind of like career courses on steroids, really. There's a lot more to them. There's still going to be that hands-on experience, but you're going to see a number of different pieces here that weren't part of the career courses. You're going to see it's broken down by kind of 4 sections. We're going to have the onboarding for students, learning again about the cluster. That soft skills collection that I mentioned earlier in the courses menu is going to be embedded in here. I wanted to show it is available on demand, right there if you want to have them work on specific things outside of them. But each virtual internship has 2 of these built in there. Learning a little bit more about the career. Students get to choose from many different careers that are within this particular cluster. Create those products just like they would in a career course. Then they're doing much more as well. We've got more soft skills in here, an exit interview, that career review survey that I've already highlighted as well as part of the career courses, as well as the assessment. And then we've got 2 additional related skills, and this is going to be kind of those next steps after this. Job search, writing a resume, as well as interviewing in this particular career cluster. So those are all parts of that virtual internship. We've been hearing lots of very positive feedback on those. It's a kind of a great opportunity if there's no local opportunities within a particular career cluster for students to be able to do that. Or even if there are, it's kind of good to do that before getting out into the field and then finding out that, oh, I don't really want to do this internship. So a couple different ways to do that. I'd also like to show one of these partner profile pages as well. So once we go in here, this is where we can really kind of focus on really highlighting that community partnership too. So we've got, it's just kind of an image, we've got the contact, but what I really want to show you over here is on the right, you kind of have some details about that partner. But then in particular, we're going to see the opportunities here. So any sort of thing, we've got the virtual internship that's already posted here. But if they did have maybe a CNA or some other type of actual internship opportunity, that could be found right there as well as any of our career courses. So it's kind of a way to house and pull all of those different components together that we have within Define Career. So any career courses related to that partner, any other work-based learning opportunities that you want to post, as well as any virtual internships can all be housed right there within that partner profile. Now, from the educator side, just very quickly, I'll show you what that looks like. They have access to all of these as well. You can see we've got the opportunities, we've got the partners. It's a very straightforward. They have access to all of those virtual internships if they want to view those. All of these they can take a look at. You can recommend them, which is kind of like assigning them to kind of get that right on the student dashboard so they can kind of see that. And then right up here, anybody with the work-based learning permission has the ability to add new opportunities or new partners, being able to just quickly fill out this form, get that information, post it within a couple of minutes. It's very easy to get that out there and be able to kind of promote that for students. So that's a lot of different really great stuff in terms of being able to help students, if I can get to the right thing here, with work-based learning and all of those community partnerships.
Really a great way, Lisa, to get local businesses involved, really thinking about the local workforce development, then from a virtual sense, providing opportunities for those experiences that you might not be able to offer students in your local community. So thanks for that. That was a great overview. Moving on to the next question is, how does Define Careers assist with post-secondary planning?
So a lot of great ways that this can really, really help in terms of post-secondary planning. So obviously just all of the conversations around careers is going to be a key way to help students with that post-secondary planning. But a couple of other ways that I wanted to mention in particular, we do have that post-secondary planning career courses that we have. I've right here, I've got 9th grade projects that are listed here. These are designed to be We do have a ninth or a 6th through 12th scope and sequence. I can't wait to open it up so I can close one of these tabs that I have open here. But this is going to be something that I know counselors have been very excited about and have been waiting. But we've got a number of different lessons right here. You can kind of see from grade 6 through 12, all of these different tasks and projects for students to be completing throughout the way in terms of really helping to prepare them for life after high school. So those are in that post-secondary collection and are going to be rolling out. We're still finishing up a couple of them, but this is going to be available for next year and have a couple of them already. So that is one of the ways, is through those post-secondary projects right within Defined Careers. The other part that we have is going to be the college and future search. So I did mention in lesson 4, I showed you that button there they could go and search for colleges. That will already have them filtered based on the career, or they can do a search just on any of the different careers in college or the colleges that we have within Defined Careers, which is close to over 7,000 of them based in our database. So I'm based in Colorado, so it gave me Colorado already defaulted, but they can search for anything. If I wanted to clear that filter out, students can search by name, by location, by type, by size, as well as by cost. And you'll notice over here, we do have an integration with Common App, so that can also ease with application related activities as well. Now with each one of these, you can click in here, get some more information about the particular institution. We're going to give an overview of that school, the admissions information that we have available, as well as any academic information we have as well, to really help with all of the different programs that they have to see. Of course, the number one thing that students should be looking for is, does this have the major that I need in order to go into the career? So that is going to be some of the key things, that post-secondary planning projects, as well as the whole college and search future tool.
Thanks, Lisa. Now, we've talked about a lot of different components, and there's a lot of different ways, obviously, to utilize Defined Careers. Could you describe some of the ways that our partners are implementing Defined Careers in their systems?
There have been so many different ways, and every time it's one of my favorite things to hear when I'm working with customers is hearing all of the different creative ways that this can be used. And you've seen a lot of different ways that already, but we hear it's a great tool for advisories or homerooms, where we're trying to have, maybe once a week, have students be thinking through that. We've heard a lot of customers have a college and career readiness dedicated course at certain grade levels, or in the middle school, or kind of going through and even into the high school, or maybe it's built into a CTE program. But this has been really great to help support those programs for customers. Certainly counseling and advising is another thing. We hear counselors really like this in terms of being able to have those career conversations with students to really help them with all of their planning. CTE, like I mentioned before, we hear, oh, this is a great supplemental resource to use within our CTE program. So that is certainly going to be one of the ways that it's used. A couple other ways are summer learning. We hear in terms of summer enrichment or gifted and talented programs, because it's a great way to have students be self-paced in their learning. I hear also a lot, oh, this is fantastic for substitute teachers, because it's something that students, if all of a sudden, and I'm a former teacher myself, and that's, if I got sick that day and couldn't make it in, this would be a godsend in order to be able to say, just have students log into Defined Careers and work through their career courses, because it's all self-paced and ready to work. We have a couple different models too. Some of our customers, like Broken Arrow or in East Baton Rouge, do a hybrid model of having all students do some of the same projects, and then having them do some choosing as well. They want to maybe have them exposed to some careers that are local, as well as, of course, have their own exploration and experience as well. So lots of different ways that it can be implemented, and that's just kind of a sampling, because there's even more out there, but hopefully that gets the juices flowing in terms of some of the ideas of how this could be used.
So then now we're going to hit Matt's question head on. How can Defined Careers be used to measure specific competencies, like those in a profile or a portrait of a graduate, Lisa?
Yes, I'm going to go through this pretty quickly, just in the interest of time, but just to kind of give a very high level overview here. A lot of these this is our own defined portrait of a graduate, very similar to a number of the other ones that we have. What we would essentially do is take a look at whatever competencies you're trying to measure. We can customize a whole custom catalog for you, as long as with customized rubrics. We can put that custom plan, whether it's a portrait of a graduate or any other type of plan, create some PD for you, as well as have a number of different reports, which I could show you very quickly here, but in short, in Defined Careers, we would have that custom catalog right there on your dashboard, have it named however you want it to be, whether it's your specific, pathways or clusters that you want students, but they would access it right there as well as their plan. And then for all of those rubrics, I showed you what a rubric looks like right within the catalog. We would take that rubric, but then add that bottom line here that you see here, whether it's critical thinking or problem solving or whatever competency it is that you're looking for. And then we do have reports available as well, right within the for the educators as well to be running a report on all of those different performance indicators. If you want to see exactly how students are doing with whatever indicator it is that you want for those chosen reports or those indicators, you can see what they would have scored or what they did score, what the average is for those particular items. So that's just one way that can be customized to kind of be measuring all of those different competencies.
And we will, of course, we'll send a link to our Define Goals webinar that you can also watch, but people are really excited about it because it's one thing to indicate, what you'd like your portrait of graduate to be. It's another thing altogether to show your growth in that and show to all of your stakeholders. So we're really excited to be able to share that as well. Also related, Lisa, how can Define Careers be used to measure things like ICAP or ECAP or different individual plans?
Yes, this is very easy. Since I'm already on the reports tab, I'm just going to show you very quickly. The other report that would be related to all of that custom work would be the plan report here. And this is where we do have the ability to add multiple plans. So this could be the portrait of a graduate that we talked about, where you're measuring, communication or collaboration, or it can be something like an ICAP or ECAP, which I've got a couple of examples right in here where you can take a look at, what this looks like. I'm going to go right into just our portrait of a graduate just to kind of show you an idea of what this would look like from the educator side and what that report would look like. But the idea is that we have a report built into Defined Careers that students are going through and self-assessing on all of those different metrics and statements within that plan. You can see at a glance where students are with their completion of that plan. You can break it down by all of those different groups. So whether it's a portrait of a graduate or if it's ICAP or ECAP, depending on the different areas there. And then you can even drill into a specific statement to see, what it is that, where students are with particular areas within that particular statement. So here you can see all of their names, the status, and what it was that it looks like. So that kind of goes along with both the portrait of a graduate as well as ICAP or ECAP. And just from the student side to give you an idea of what that would look like. And since I'm in Colorado, I'll show you that one. But, they have ICAP here. We've got all of these different buckets, what the student can do. And we'd want to put this into student-friendly language. But we could take a look at that task, take a look at that big bucket, I guess, and all of their different statements. Students can go in, change their progress, add any sort of evidence, which would be projects that they could be completing in Defined Careers or outside if it's part of their personal projects. So lots of different ways that can be used for either all of those statewide initiatives or for a portrait of a graduate as well.
Thanks, Lisa. And so far, we've focused on middle and high school. How about elementary? What's available in Defined Careers for the K-5 realm?
We do have a number of things for elementary as well. And this is going to look a little bit different than what we have for middle and high school, just because it is designed to be more student driven at the middle and high school level. But for the elementary level, it's going to be a lot more teacher driven. So students, they can be going in there to assign different tasks that are all related to Defined Careers K-5. We've got a number of different courses there for them, Careers Around Us, Career Experiences there for 3 to 5. We've got some financial literacy and entrepreneurship as well. But what you'll see once we start looking, and you'll notice it looks a little bit different for the elementary levels, and that is intentional. But we've got it broken down by career cluster. And so this is designed to be teacher driven, going through working as in teams or as a class, all doing the same project at the same time. But you can see that we've got, and for that 3 to 5, we've got 2 different careers in each particular career cluster. In that K-2, we've got one per cluster. But tasks that are very similar in setup in terms of having a slideshow, but going through and going to be a lot more teacher directed.
Thanks, Lisa. So I know this has been a terrific demo, great overview. How about if you can wrap things up for us and before we say goodbye to our guests today?
Thanks, Andy. So thank you guys for hanging in there. And sorry we went just a few minutes over, but as you can see, there was a lot to cover because Define Careers can just do so many different things. And a lot of the ways that people are using us are, of course, as a comprehensive platform that's going to help with, as you can see, all of the career navigation that's going to help guide students through exploring. And that key thing that you saw is experiencing all of the careers in Define Careers through that hands-on project-based learning. So that's going to be a key way that and reason that people come and use us over other platforms. Of course, it's used as counseling and advising in terms of kind of helping facilitate all of those conversations with students about those next steps and where they want to go. Certainly, like I mentioned before too, CTE it's really wonderful in CTE to really help kind of beef up some of the projects and careers and all of the exposure to the careers within those CTE pathways and clusters. And then as you could see, it also worked very nicely in terms of work-based learning experiences, especially with all of those virtual internship opportunities already at the ready, one for each cluster. And then finally, to help track student progress, whether it's in a portrait of a graduate with all those competencies, or if it's ICAP, ECAP, any of those statewide individual learning plan, something like that, you can certainly do all of that within Define Careers as well.
Well, thank you, Lisa. And just to, in parting for everyone, we would invite you to do a couple things. One, we invite you to download this awesome case study from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, our tremendous partners out there. 3-year ongoing study about the impact of Define Careers on engaging middle school students in career readiness. Great read. We also welcome you to visit our site. Go to definelearning.com and you can sign up for a demo of Define Careers as well, or schedule time with us. We'd love to spend time with you and talk a little bit more, dive deeper what it means for you. But that's we wanted to invite those two things. And again, you will receive an email with a link to this webinar. And we'll have a couple of additional resources in there for you as well. So with that, I'm just going to say thank you for joining us today. We appreciate your time. You can follow us on X, visit on our website. But until next time, thanks and have a great day. Take care, everyone.